Welcome back to the most professional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Zuckerberg Burkle, here with the host today, and super fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, Aaron. Go ahead and say hi, Aaron.
I am a fan. I have not robbed any banks.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be talking about the upcoming AFC Championship game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens, the sixth time in 6 years. That's 6 in a row, folks, that the Chiefs have made the AFC Championship game. Winning all but 2 up to this point. Let's see if we can keep that trend continued. But yeah, Chiefs versus Ravens. Aaron, what's your first initial thoughts?
Uh, should be an electric game. I mean, it was the last time they met up, and it's the story of two stifling defenses. Obviously, the Chiefs' offense has kind of struggled up until last game when they finally started scoring some touchdowns. I think three, almost 4 touchdowns until McCall Hardman fumbled through the back of the end zone. I'm not bitter about it. I'm not, but um, yeah.
Yeah, that was ugly, but uh, yeah, best the offense has looked all year was last week, in my opinion. At least versus a good team. Um, should have had 4 touchdowns, like you said. Probably do if we, I don't know, hand it off to Isaiah Pacheco, who was having one of the best games of his playoff career, or throw it to Travis Kelsey for maybe his 3rd touchdown in the game. But no, instead we, for whatever reason, do an end around with McCole Hardman. So, um, but other than
And
that,
around inside the 5.
inside and in around inside the 5. That is correct.
Oh,
Uh,
Andy.
oh, Andy, never change, Andy, never change. But
Now, please change a little bit, Andy. Just a little bit.
But in this game, Baltimore Ravens come in
Hmm.
as minus 3.5 point favorites, according to ESPN Bet. I chalk a lot of that up to them just being at home and being the 1 seed, I guess, which, kind of go hand in hand, of course.
If you were telling me, like, midway through the season that we would be here and we'd only be 3-point dogs, I would be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, some of that
With as
definitely.
struggling on offenses as we've been and as dominant as the Ravens have been, especially on the defensive side of the ball,
That is true. You also have to factor in, though, that,
we have Patrick Mahomes.
yeah, and unless his entire offensive line is absent, he's never played a bad playoff game in his entire career. So, which that kind of brings me to my concern.
Oh, is that necessarily true?
I
Didn't
mean,
he not play the best in the second half against Cincy?
he played good in the first half. He did play like ass in the second half, though. I was oh that I don't think I've been as mad watching a Chiefs game as I was when we lost to the Bengals that year, simply because we shouldn't have. Simply because we beat ourselves and we should have went to our 3rd of 4 straight Super Bowl appearances. But um, yeah, speaking of the offensive line being depleted though in one of those Super Bowls, Joe Tooney potentially out this Sunday. Is there any concern there?
I mean, yeah, he's offensive lineman. That's a peck is very important as far as their position goes. It's where a lot of their push comes from. Um, so that's obviously concerning. But I would I would probably expect him to play. I think he's the type of warrior that's gonna push through.
Yeah, they're saying he's going to do everything he can to try to play this Sunday. The only all pro I think the Chiefs had on offense this year is Joe Tooney. So clearly one
Which
of
is
the
ridiculous.
it is a little ridiculous, but clearly one of the best offensive players. Period, but definitely on the line. Arguably the best, maybe second, right there with Creed Humphrey, but definitely a huge part of the offense. You got to think Isaiah Pacheco could get affected by him being out. Um, I don't know who the backup is necessarily, but whoever it is, it ain't no Joe Tooney, that's for sure. Uh, so I don't know if I could see us running the ball a little less this game, especially because the Ravens' defense is as good as they are. Their front seven specifically is really, really good. So I don't know if we're going to be able to run the ball as effectively as we did against Buffalo, where um, Isaiah Pacheco was honestly running all over them. I think he ran for like over 6 yards a carry or something like that. Um, 15 carries, almost 100 yards. I don't think he's going to be able to do that against Baltimore. I think we'll have to lean more into the passing game than we did against Buffalo. Um, and as far as the defense goes, I've seen a lot of people use last week's game as an example as to why Baltimore is going to run all over us. And in my opinion, I think the way we're going to play defense against the Ravens is drastically different than the way we played defense against the Buffalo Bills. You know, I feel like we played defense against the Bills to try and limit the big plays downfield, those big passes that Josh Allen's capable of completing.
Try and
Um,
make Josh Allen make mistakes.
right, try to make Josh Allen make mistakes. So we left that box a little bit lighter, which allowed James Cook to have a really good game running and allowed Josh Allen to have a really good game running. We're not going to do that against Baltimore. You know, because Baltimore's bread and butter isn't those big chunk plays. It's running the ball down your throat. So, in my opinion, what I would think that Spags is going to do is coach up the defensive scheme for this week to be more of a stop the run, maybe more people in the box, more one on one coverages, make Lamar beat you downfield because while Lamar is capable of doing that, I'm not saying he's not. That's not where he's most dangerous. He's most dangerous on the ground. So, what are your thoughts on people saying that the Ravens are going to run all over the Chiefs this weekend?
Uh, well, I hope they're wrong. It's very frustrating to watch your team just give up chunk play after chunk play on the run game.
Yeah.
I think the kind of key for this defense is being rush discipline in the pass game. You got to get pressure without getting gaps for Lamar to squeeze through, and you're gonna have a spy if you're playing man. So whether that's Nick Bolton or Willie Gay,
Drew Tranquil.
if he plays, or Tranquil, yeah. Um, so that's what I think is very important because we saw in the first half when, especially the later in that first half when they kind of were hitting their stride, the Texans were able to get pressure and move Lamar off his spot without letting him get out of the pocket necessarily, and then the spy would come up and make the play. So I think that's kind of the key for the Chiefs defense, and we've got good corners. I mean,
Oh yeah.
we have the ability to leave Snead, out on an island on OBJ or Zay Flowers. McDuffie can do that as well. Um,
I think
you
Justin
don't want to
Reed
do that
even.
all the time because then that becomes predictable
Yeah.
and all that. But if you want to dial up a blitz, then we've got the corners that are capable to do that. So
Yeah.
I would expect
I think
Spags
Justin.
to do his thing.
Yeah, I think Justin Reed is capable of both rushing the quarterback and covering those flats or over the top, whichever you need him to do. He's a really good like hybrid safety to have. He can do a little bit of everything. Tranquil being, I think he was a really underrated signing this offseason. You saw it more as when Nick Bolton went down middle of the year, how important Drew Tranquil can be. But now having him, Bolton, and Willie Gay, all three of them, potentially out there on the field. That helps you in the pass game as well as the run game because they're a little bit better at doing both than maybe an outside linebacker is. They're a little bit better at covering the run game than maybe a nickel corner is or another safety is. So and they're capable of guarding or of covering a tight end in coverage. Uh, which Baltimore does a lot of. They run a lot of tight end routes. You know, they have a lot of tight ends going out there on routes, whether it's Mark Andrews coming back or it's whoever the other guys are. The Ravens love their tight end plays, so I think having Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil, Willie Gay, all three of those guys who are able to cover those tight ends will also stuff the run. is huge. They all three have a nose for the football. Um, would like to see them be able to catch the ball a little bit better, maybe, because they all three have the stonedest hands I've ever freaking seen. But other than that, really good. Uh, yeah, I'm not really worried about the defense this game. And I mean, you haven't really had to worry about the defense all season. It's the offense that's the question, especially with this Ravens D. But again, I just keep going back to we have Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes, when the lights are brightest, he plays his best. He's never had an opportunity to play Lamar Jackson in the playoffs before. This is only the second time he's ever had the opportunity to play a road playoff game in his career, not the Super Bowl. So I think Patrick Mahomes lives for these kind of opportunities. We saw players like MVS step up last week, Rashee Rice the week before, Isaiah Pacheco having back to back really good playoff games. Um, would like to see McCole Hardman never touch the field ever again for the Chiefs. And then just keep Kadarius Toney off the field as well. But other than that, I think I really like our odds. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick the Chiefs in this one. Should just because I got the prediction right last week, I got to go with a score here. So let me just tap into my old NFL mind meld, and I think we're gonna go into halftime tie. Okay, 13-13. We're going to halftime tie, 13-13. Come out. Chiefs score on their first drive. They just score a field goal though. Go up 16-13. Ravens come back, go up 4, score a touchdown. So now it's 20-16. 3 and out by the Chiefs, 3 and out by the Ravens. And then the Chiefs score a touchdown on their last drive in walk-off fashion to win the game. What would that be? 23-20. I think it's going to be a real grinded out game.
Again.
Again, yeah. It's how we're going to have to win. But what do you think?
I mean, just real quick to kind of go back, a player that we need to give flowers for last week. Jamari Connor came in, replaced Edwards, who replaced Cook, who both went out early in the season. Had a good game, had 10 total tackles, 8 solo tackles. So it's nice to see that we've got depth. Granted, we're probably a little fit at safety now. Probably don't always know.
What happened with Brian Cook again?
He had like an ankle injury or a knee injury early, like halfway through the season. And then Edwards obviously is in concussion protocol after that hit on Stephon Diggs early in the game.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I can't stomach picking the Ravens, so I guess I'm gonna pick the Chiefs. It would just break my heart to not pick them, so I got to.
Like better.
I think they win 33-28.
Dang, you think both teams are gonna put up points? I think it's gonna be a low scoring game personally.
I'm hoping it's 33-28.
So, do you think Blaine Gabbert's questionable status comes into play?
Why is he questionable?
I don't know.
Had his toe walking through the weight room?
I don't know. I was looking at the injury report and just see Blaine Gabbert questionable. I'm like, what? Why? So.
I hope that doesn't become a factor. If that becomes a factor, then we have much bigger issues.
That's true. That probably means something else went wrong earlier in the game.
We'll have Kelsey at quarterback then, I guess.
Dude, hey, maybe he could finally earn that. Extend his career by like 10 seasons. Tom Brady played until he's 45 because he was a quarterback.
Yeah, but he didn't have as much prior build up to wear and tear. Yeah.
I think that'll do it for this episode of Most Unprofessional Sports Channel on YouTube. Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Section Burkle. Here with my coach today, Aaron. Go ahead and say bye, Aaron.
Bye.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy. Other than that, deuces.